Abusia, a year, Chema Wontumi EXIM BANK a year loan alleged fraud. As you see, old the court akoniaba no Abusia ba beto dwa say a dia former NDP chairman papa a year Frederick Blay. Any a year or say chairman Sabonsu Abusia. A man born a chemu HSA. Omo show concern pa e de omani e de achemu e de akọ attorney general office abra a year Chema Wontumi kopie mu e wo court e wo sa EXIM BANK a year loan ho. Na Abusia omo akọ for a year negotiation senior beya another sentence emeka a year Chema Wontumi 20 years here Abusia omo de amano ni na e je say amana kopie mu e wo nsewa mu no omo pese foforo e besa aba bebo no we de ma mekasa wa me ma mekasa enyete pese yekọ na yeti alleged issue ya aba about yes yenti na yenkyere ya agye comment se bia mekansa na mehu nsem ne kaye pese ya yekọ na yeti na yeche ya agye na yeti emuaya Abusia attorney general edema omo anase court no edema eye sampenifo we abra omo kopie mu se omo ekopre eye plead ede ama eye Chema Wontumi ha eda so aye be media je be se wase ene dey communicate channel so need you kwan se be subscribe like na wa so channel person be tie no anya bi atie ha eda so aye be media je yedamase.
Including former national chairperson Frederick Blay and leader in parliament Osechi Mensa Bunsu are lending their support to convicted Ashanti regional chair of the NPP Bernardine Triboesiako in his 30 million cedi EXIM BANK fraud case. The party are expected to provide the court with an update on the plea negotiations. Chairman Wontumi is facing, among others, charges of defrauding by false pretenses, forgery, and money laundering. He has initiated a plea deal with the Attorney General. Other persons present to support the NPP executive, Ofuasia Yorubi MP Kojo Nkrumah and Richard Ahiagba Samia Wuku, Anthony Kabo, and Jefferson Saki, as well as Dennis Miracles Abuachi. My colleague Lord Edwasare is in court for us. Let's connect with him right now with a bit more in terms of details. Lord, it's quite packed today. Walk us through what the mood has been like from his arrival up until him appearing before the justice and the support as well that he's receiving today.
Indeed, Martin. So essentially, Wontumi once again was brought to the court, and this time around the General Jurisdiction 2. That's the court hearing the EXIM BANK fraud case. Now, he came in today composed, quiet, a bit gloomy, but then shortly after he was brought, Sama Atachia and his other lawyers came to the courtroom and then came to speak to the court clerk, and he was informed that the case was yet to be called because it was scheduled to be around 10:30, but he had come way earlier. So once he got the date, he proceeded to a different matter because you know that Atachia is also representing the former National Signals Bureau Director, Kwabena Edubwahin. Well, once Wontumi was seated, we had a plethora of NPP stalwarts trooping in. The names that you mentioned, immediately he saw them. There was some brightness in Wontumi's face. He was full of joy now. You could tell that he was very pleased seeing his compatriots who had come to, as they were solidarized with him. They all sought the permission of the prison officer and then went ahead to talk to Wontumi. They engaged in conversations. A number of them, you see Kojo Nkrumah, the former majority leader, Honorable Chairman of Sebunsu. Then there was Anthony Kabo, and all the other names that you mentioned earlier. And they all took their turns to interact with Wontumi, after which he sat down. So you could see that Wontumi was very excited at the turnout of the NPP bigwigs who showed up in court today. Now, to the substantive case itself, once it was called, or even if I get to that now, there was a point where the Deputy Attorney General walked in because he came from the Kwabena Edubwahin case. They have to stand that case down because some Atachia had the same counsel in that matter. Now, when the Deputy Attorney General came to court, because the entire courtroom was still filled to the brim of fully packed, there was little space for the Attorney General, Deputy Attorney General to sit because now there were other lawyers in another matter. The only space available was next to Chema Wontumi, and so he went to sit next to Wontumi, and the scene over there was quite an interesting one. They would not even look at themselves up, among other things. But now, when the case was called, Samuel Atachia indicated to the court, first introduced himself as a friend of the court, and told the court that the substantive lawyer for Wontumi, Andy Akubi, had withdrawn from the case, and so he was the one taking over the EXIM Bank case. He indicated that he actually prayed for adjournment because he indicated that he had now taken over the case, and although there was a plea negotiation which Andy Akubi had begun, it had to be put to a stop, and as he spoke, he had conferred with the Deputy Attorney General, and so he was ready to now restart the entire plea negotiation process, and so he was pleading with the court for a long adjournment. He actually prayed for 90 days, but responding to the prayer, Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Shemtai indicated that indeed what Samuel Atachia had indicated, he affirmed that yes, there were conversations regarding the plea negotiation, but indicated that the time that Atachia was asking for was a bit of a stretch, and so he wanted the court to give them about 30 days. Now, the presiding judge in the matter indicated that even before today's case, there were directions for them to update the court on the status of the plea negotiation. And so if it has failed, because they're given 30 days for the plea negotiation, once that had elapsed and they couldn't come to a deal, there was a need for the court to give directions for the prosecution to file their disclosures and essentially for the trial to continue. Now, Dr. Justice Shemtai indicated that that was well and good, but because there were conversations about a new plea bargaining negotiation between the parties now, although the trial can go concurrently, because of the plea negotiation, he prayed to the court for more time to allow them, as it were, go through the negotiation without having to file their disclosures. Because once the disclosures have been filed, it means that the trial is essentially or effectively going to happen. After listening to both sides of the divide, the presiding judge in the matter then adjourned the case to August 27 for further directions. So when they are back in court on August 27th, we'll get to know what the court's direction will be as far as whether they should proceed the plea negotiation or what that will be, Marina.
So we don't even know if the court has granted them room to go and negotiate the plea bargain in relation to this matter. That will be determined on August 27 when they return to the courtroom.
As far as this is concerned, there's somewhat a gentleman's agreement between all the parties, but going according to the practice direction, the court indicated that we have to adjourn the proceedings for further directions on what to do pertaining to the matter. But then Atachia and then the prosecution led by the Deputy Attorney General have indicated that indeed they are all in the same boat as far as the plea negotiation is concerned. And so they are asking for a 30-day window for the negotiation to essentially go through.
Right. Let's stay in the courts. Still on matters relating to both counsels, right? Because we know Samuel Atachia was in the former Signals Bureau boss's case. Was that put on hold to allow this proceed? And then I'll come to you on Hanan as well, because we know his wife has been filing an application seeking to leave the jurisdiction for their son's medical treatment.
Indeed, Marina. So, like he indicated, Samuel Atachia is the lead counsel for the former National Signals Bureau director. Now, that case was slated for 9:30, and then Wontumi's case was slated for 10:30. And so, once it was around 10, getting to 10:30, the substantive counsel in the matter, which Samuel Atachia, he prayed with the court for the case to be stood down so that they can go to come for the Chairman Wontumi case. And so, once the case was done, then he proceeded to go back to the Edibuan case. So as we speak right now, Samuel Atachia and the Deputy Attorney General are back at the Edibuan court going through
the prosecution's third witness being the Iyoko investigator, Frank Cromwell. He's being cross-examined by lawyer for the former National Signals Bureau director.
On Hanan's wife now, she's filed an application. She's the second accused in that buffer stock saga, seeking to leave the jurisdiction for their child's medical attention. What more do we know about this, and how have prosecution as well been reacting to this latest application?
Well, as far as that application is concerned, the hearing notice has been scheduled for tomorrow. But Marina, there's the interesting thing about it. There's been a circular signed by the Chief Justice because of the anniversary by the Supreme Court. All judges and essentially lawyers have been given the permission to absent themselves from the court. Now, all things equal, the court may not sit unless the presiding judge in the matter decides to seek permission from the Chief Justice to hear the matter. Because, for example, Marina, in a separate matter at the Criminal 4, where it is presided by Justice Audrey Kokuviti, there was a matter in court today regarding the SkyTrain project where the parties were supposed to file their defense, but they had failed to do so. And so she made further directions that although there's a matter happening, for which reason all courts are not supposed to sit, or judges are supposed to absent themselves, she has sought permission from the Chief Justice, and so from tomorrow she will sit. And so unless the ex-NAFCO boss's case, the presiding judge in the matter takes a similar route, all things equal, the case may not come off because of that circular which has been sent by the Chief Justice.
The Chief Justice. Right. Lord, I appreciate those details there. That's Lord Edwasare, is my colleague in court for us, helping us appreciate a number of developments, right? And so even with the SkyTrain matter, we'll get an update on that front as well, and we'll continue to provide you details of it for you here. But for now, we're going to take you into other matters, one that will significantly be of interest to you as well, Kamini.
Indeed, now 300 Ghanaians arrived at the Accra International Airport minutes ago in the latest plan by Ghana to evacuate 1,000 more citizens from South Africa. This follows early arrival of over 900 citizens as violent anti-migrant protests raged South Africa, causing deaths of foreign nationals, including a Ghanaian. Over 160,000 foreign nationals
arrived, as you indicated. I understand that yesterday a group arrived, and this dawn as well. So all in all, the figure the officials are giving me is that we have about 150 Ghanaian nationals who have come in yet, and around 7 p.m. there would be another group to arrive. What I know right now, Kamini, is that the Foreign Affairs Minister, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, has just arrived here as well to officially welcome these Ghanaian nationals who have arrived following the hostilities in South Africa and the anti-migrant protests ongoing, which I know have claimed some lives, including one reported case involving a Ghanaian national. So I'll be engaging some of them, but what I know also is that any moment from now, the minister himself is going to speak. So I wouldn't want to say much. I would wait to get the minister. But Kamini, what you see right now is the national anthem that is being played. And so all the arrived evacuees get on their feet with their children, women, male, and everyone here is on their feet to observe the national anthem as it goes. Just a formal process to formally, officially welcome the Ghanaian nationals who have arrived at the Terminal 2 of the Accra International Airport. That is the Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, together with his directors, who are equally observing this symbolic and important national gesture, and very shortly would have him officially welcome everyone to Ghana, and then we'll see the protocols that would be outlined. Already I know, Kemini, that some food, some snacks and beverages have been given out to them, also because it is right, especially for those who may not have eaten before boarding the flight. And so let me give you, okay, there will be a prayer, Kemini, before the minister will speak. But while at that, Kemini, I know that over 160,000 foreign nationals have or are known to have left South Africa. Some are from other African countries like Zimbabwe, Malawi, Kenya. There is also what I know to be other countries such as Nigeria, Lesotho, and Uganda, as well as Mozambique and Zimbabwe. All of these are some of the countries that have had their nationals affected by the raging anti-migrant, protest in South Africa. In fact, Ghana already has tabled this issue before the African Union, with President Mahama asking the African Union to make the xenophobic attacks a primary agenda, one important agenda, when it convenes its next high-level meeting. And then what I also know is that here, as they arrive, Ghana has tabled a number of protocols in place, relief packages, including welcome home package, more or less like a direct cash assistance that will be given to these individuals upon their arrival for immediate upkeep. I know there is reintegration allowance to help the families ease back into local economic activities. And then NADMO officials are here as well, who would be providing some relief items like bedding, blanket, staple food items as well. There is also a protocol for psychological assistance. So there will be psychological assistance to provide some free counseling and trauma management. So let me take you to the podium where the officials will begin to talk now, and then we'll get exactly what they have to say and what they have to tell us. This is an official from NADMO speaking right now. Kemini.
Yeah, I am delighted to be among you to receive our compatriots from South Africa, Ghanaians returning from South Africa. Brothers and sisters, you are most welcome. Home is always home. We are most delighted to have you back home, and we want to assure you that we are ready to work with you to ensure that you reintegrate with your families and communities back here in Ghana. So we've always missed you because no matter where you are, how well or how interesting that place is, home is always better. So your mothers, your fathers, your brothers, and all your relatives here in Ghana are very happy that you are back home. When we started hearing about the stories and seeing some videos about what was going on in South Africa, we were very worried. But now that you are home, we are a bit more happy now. I know there are others who are yet on the way coming. We are praying together to ensure that at least they get back home. Apart from the effort we are making, we are also praying to God. I can't say much now, but on behalf of the Director General of NADMO, Major Retired Dr. Joseph Bekinyo Kuyon, who wished to have been here to welcome you together with the minister, but he's usually taken to other places because of important.
We in some of the team calls or channel so Mammy and also Jemre. That's the body in the Dombi Romani. Only the Bishia na Yasumo.